All right, everyone. Today I wanted to go over something that is going to be a huge benefit for everyone to know, and you're really going to want to take advantage of this as much as you can. Now, if you are newer to the game, this is something you're going to want to get in on sooner rather than later, because the earlier that you start this and the earlier you really get to work on it, the more you're going to get out of it in the long term. And you guys will see exactly what I mean by that here in a second, because what I wanted to do today is talk about tons of different reasons, and I have 8 in particular. This is just going to be my list right here. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other things that I'm missing out that are also going to be a massive benefit, but it's going to be a list of 8 reasons why you're going to want to make alt characters in Black Desert Online. And the thing is, you do not have to even level them up. You don't have to get gear on them. They don't have to be seasonal. You don't really have to put a whole lot of time and effort into this. It only takes a few minutes to actually make a new character. I recommend getting them to level 7 at the least, though. That only takes maybe a minute or two. It's very easy to do. And even on my account, actually, I play a lot. I play basically all day long. I make all my videos. I do Twitch live streams, and a ton of my alts are still actually level 7, and they're still providing an absolutely astronomical benefit to my account. So let's get into it. I have this list here of 8 reasons that are going to be super important why you want alts. And if you guys are wondering how many you can have, I believe there are a total of 6 character slots that are offered for free. I believe you can also get a couple from loyalty. I don't know if there's actually a limit, but there is a total of 24 character slots that you can get, including the paid ones. That's the maximum, but the maximum is going to increase by 1 for every new class that they release. So it was actually 23 up until Corsair was out. Then it was 22 before Sage was out. So very likely they're going to continue that trend. And as they do release a lot of classes, obviously you're going to be able to make more character slots if you want to. And for more advanced players, that is actually kind of important for things like the Rule of Peace travel log. Let's not get too much into that, because there's so many other things that are going to be important for absolutely everyone when it comes to alts. And let's get into this list of 8 things that I have. And let's start off with a really, really big one. This is probably the most commonly known reason why people want to have alt characters, but I will say it is just one of the very small things on this very large list of how alts are going to help you out tremendously, and that is going to be boss alts. So I want to actually show you guys what I mean by this. So let's hop over to my boss alt. And in case you guys are wondering, the reason my character sheet, I know it's just blacked out right now. I was working on editing it, but I didn't finish it, so I just did this for now until I finish it, so it looks a little bit better. But let's head over to my boss alt, and it's going to be this character right here, my second to last one. And basically, I have all these portraits here. In fact, we'll actually go over to, let's go to my character screen so you can see a little bit better here, all my characters. But those are all individual characters that I have all over the world, and in particular, there is a couple at very specific spots that you are absolutely going to want to consider parking some alts at right off the get-go, and that is going to be boss alts. Now, what I actually have is I have alts right now. I moved a lot of them back to town just to sell stuff and whatnot, but normally they are parked at a whole bunch of different bosses like Zarka, Karanda, Kudum, Nuver, Garmith, Vel, and basically what you can do is, because now you have an alt just parked over here, this is one that you are going to want to level up at least a little bit here so you don't get one shot and you get a little bit of damage in, but you don't even need to get to level 60. You don't really need good gear. You can just use Oasis gear. It doesn't need to be too crazy. And basically when the boss spawns, if I'm on another character and I'm busy doing something else, if I want to take the quick 1 minute, 2 minutes or so right before the boss is about to die to come hop over, get a couple of attacks in, and then get the credit and get the loot, that's something that I can do. Now, I will say, guys, a little bit of a warning here that they are actually in the process of having an update so where you won't be able to just one-hit a boss, a nightmare boss, and get the credits. But it looks like it's currently only for nightmare bosses, and we don't really know the details of it. This is something that it looks like it's going to be coming in a future update, but that is something I saw in an upcoming patch notes on Global Labs. But again, it's only for nightmare right now. The normal bosses still look like they're function the way that they do. So you just log onto an alt right before it dies, get a couple of attacks in, get your loot, and then go back to whatever character you are working on, and you're good to go. So that is one thing that you can actually do. But now let's head back over to my main character and let's get into the 7 other things that I have on this list, because that is just the very beginning here. There's so much you can get out of alts. It's actually insane, and I don't even know where I would begin with my day if I didn't have my alt characters, because they are so unbelievably useful for what I do in particular. And I'll get into the very important reasons for me in particular in my account in a little bit here. We got some other things on the list. First, Now, the next one, which is really, really big, and this is actually going to be a nice way to actually just earn some silver on your alt without doing anything at all. You just create your alt, and basically your alts just existing is going to potentially end up making you silver because your alts are going to be regenerating energy by being offline. Now, obviously, they're not going to be giving you as much energy as your online character will, but it's still energy on all your offline characters, you know, I think it's every half hour or every 45 minutes. And basically, you can use that energy for anything that you want. Really, you can go roll workers, you can life skill on certain alts, or what you can do if you want to go with the really quick and easy thing, you can go over to a lesson here, and you can turn in your energy for energy potions. And then these right here, what you can do, and I'm just going to take this one here. I would generally recommend getting the one for 200 energy, but just as an example, I'm going to pick the cheapest one here. And basically, you get these energy potions. And what you can do is you can either use these on another character. If you want the energy on another character, obviously you're not going to get as much energy as what it costs you to buy the potion. But another thing you can do is you can just quite simply sell them on the market. And you can see here the prices of them. Obviously, if you want to get the best bang for your buck and the most silver per energy that you exchange, you want to go for the biggest one there, which costs 200 energy. But hey, free silver just by having characters exist, not do anything. Go to an NPC, click a button, exchange your energy. There you go. You have stuff you can sell and make some money on the market. So that is the next thing on the list there. Now let's move on to the one that is incredibly important for me in particular, and I don't even know where I'd begin without this, and that is every alt that you actually have is going to act as somebody who can hold a fail stack for enhancing. So I've got my Nader's Bane here. Obviously, I have a video talking about this from a little while ago, but you can use this to move your fail stacks. I won't get into detail on this because I do have a whole video about that. But basically, every character is going to have their, main enhancement window here that can hold a fail stack. And if you actually go to my character screen, you can see here that this icon on the right, this fire-looking thing, not the other one, that's the energy right there. This one is your fail stack that is on that respective character. And you can have a fail stack on all your alts, plus your Nader's Bane slots, and you can tell very simply here from the window where all of your fail stacks are. And if you do any reasonable amount of enhancing, this is going to be absolutely invaluable. And don't worry, the Nader's Bane, even though it is an item in the pro shop, the most important slot, which is the one that's going to allow you to move fail stacks to your alt characters, is actually free. And all you have to do is go and talk to an NPC in Tariff. I believe the Black Spirit should have a quest for you available for that, and you are good to go. And that is absolutely massive. Like, I could not do what I do without this. It's just that simple. It would be a completely different game. So that's a huge benefit. So next up on the list is a really big one that a lot of people actually don't really fully know or take advantage of. And this is honestly, like, when I first found out about this, I was like, man, this feature is insanely awesome. Like, I love it. And that is the transport feature. And what that is once again in your character menu here, you can see this button. What this does is it actually allows you to basically, it's not quite fast travel. This game doesn't really have much fast travel besides the maps. But basically, you can switch to a different character, stay offline on the character that you want to transport. And if you stay offline on the character for 1 hour, you can play alts, you can play other characters, but after 1 hour, it'll transport you to a major city that you are looking to get to. In fact, I think there's a lot of other minor cities on here as well. So you can see all the different locations that we can go to. Some of the really far out places, you've got to make 2 hops over to. But, just as an example, let's actually, just so you guys can see, let's go over to, let's try, pick somewhere really far away just so you guys can see how awesome this is. I know Grana is pretty far. Drax is definitely far away. So now let's just hop over to, my seasonal character just so you guys can see what it's going to look like here. And it's pretty cool. And you can do this on all your alts. You can basically character hop and bounce around the world on all your characters all simultaneously while doing other stuff on your main character. This is so convenient for moving stuff around. It's so convenient for like turning in quests, and like, man, this feature is really slept on. Take advantage of it. It's a great thing to have alts for. So now here's my seasonal character. But now what you can see here, that if I go and just click on my main character portrait, you can see in transit 59 minutes and then 30 seconds or whatever. And basically, if I log back in, I'm going to do it right now, so it's going to cancel it. But if I stay offline for 60 minutes, then you just log into your character that you use the transport feature on, and you're in the city that you went to. And yes, you can do this on multiple characters at the same time. It's not like there's a limit of one. If I wanted to go and move this character now, in fact, let's go ahead and do it right now. So let's now move this character, and I actually do need to move this character, so it's going to work out very well for me. Let's move over to Heidel, and let's go back over to my main character, and you can do that on as many alts as you want. The only restriction is you can't log in for 1 hour or it will cancel it. So absolutely awesome feature. Next up is going to be Family Fame. This is really, really important for a more intermediate to end game player. It might not seem like it if you guys are still newer to the game, but Family Fame is going to obviously really come with working on your alts, and this is something that is going to actually require a little bit of a time and effort investment, because for this, you'll either need to be doing some life skilling or leveling up your alts. You can have somebody power level you. Either way, though, this is something I actually really need to get to work on. I need to have that 7,000 bracket for the amount of stuff that I sell in the market. The reason why this is important is because it actually increases the amount of silver that you end up getting from your sales on the market. So it's like kind of like a very, very mini value pack in a sense. It might not seem like much, 0.5%, 1%, 1.5% for 1,000, 4,000, and 7,000 Family Fame respectively. But once you get to the more later stages in the game, when you're selling items for, hundreds of millions, billions, and even tens of billions of silver, that extra 1.5% makes a pretty big difference. And it's actually quite a bit of money that you're just missing out on by not having this. So it's definitely a big one, and one you're eventually going to want to work on. And that's something I've been slacking on as well myself. So I got to get back to work on that. So that's another very big one with alts. Next up, this is something that some people like to do. It's actually pretty smart. I'm personally not a fan of this, but it is efficient. And that is actually using alts for life skills and having different alts actually have different life skills, so that it's a lot more convenient. And there's 2 examples I can give here. One of them obviously would be like your farm, right? And it works out well for me because I spend a lot of time in Velia anyway, and my farm is right over in Velia. But let's say you don't really spend a ton of time in Velia. Let's say you're doing a lot of other stuff outside of Velia, you're grinding, you're really far away. Well, instead of having farming on your main character, what you can do is you can have it on an alt, and then have that alt kind of be parked in Velia right next to your farm, and then use that character for your farming. Right? That way, wherever you are on your main character, you could just go ahead and log over, and whenever your farm is done, you'll be able to still see this notification that it's ready, and my farm's ready, by the way. You'll still be able to see that notification on your main character, and then log to your alts, check your farm, go back to your main, and you're good to go. But you will need to have your alts with the farming level, and obviously you're going to want to get those magical seeds, so you're going to want to get artisan farming on an alt. But it's a smart and it's efficient. I personally that's not the way that I play. I like to have all my stuff on my main character, but technically having certain life skills on alts is actually more efficient. And the other one is like cooking for your Imperial turn-ins, right? This one would actually be a huge benefit if I did this, because what you can do is have like your cooking and turn in your Imperials on an alt, have them parked over in whatever city you turn in your Imperials. I would not recommend Heidel. I've learned that lesson. Whatever city you turn in your Imperials, instead of having to run over there or somehow get there on your main character every time you do your Imperial turn-ins, now that you have it on your alts, you're good to go and you can be more efficient about it. So that's another advantage there. And then next up is a very simple one, but definitely one that cannot be neglected. That's just quite simply more inventory space, more weight. A lot of my alts actually are just quite simply parked in Velia because I do a lot of enhancing and I have a lot of stuff here, but mostly for me, it's the fail stacks. That's like the biggest thing by far, but also the inventory space, the storage is really, really nice. I know there's a journal that you actually get like extra inventory slots, but it's for every character on your family. So any kind of benefit and bonus that you have for that is going to be really, really nice. You can take advantage of your family inventory there as well. But you can see here that I just got a whole bunch of stuff on all of my different characters that are parked here in Velia. And again, a lot of my alts are still level 7. They're not really anything crazy, no gear. They're not going to stay like that forever. But even though I haven't really put any time investment into these alts, I literally just made the character, walked them over to Velia. I got him to level 7, which took like 2 minutes. And there's still the amount of actual value that these alts add to my account is absolutely insane. So, hey, that's another thing to add to the list right there. So more inventory storage and allows you to keep more items. So if you're a hoarder, that's a big benefit for you. And then the last one here, another one that kind of gets slept on, like that transport feature. This is super, super useful if you actually find the right spots to do this. I know a really good one that I know off the top of my head, a great example for what this is going to be is like the cooking quests, right? And what I'm talking about is quest turn-ins. A lot of quests are actually not necessarily specific to that character. It's going to be for your entire account. So what you can actually do, and there are some really crazy situations where this is super useful, and I found a couple myself, is you can actually have alts kind of go to like the quest hub or the quest objective area. And then if you need to go and actually do the quest somewhere else, you know, you can do that on another character, do the quest somewhere else, and then have your alt ready to actually turn in wherever the turn in objective is. So the cooking quest that you get for, you know, like you get all the milk and you get the pepper and onions and that sort of stuff, that's a really, really great example. Those you have to normally go to Calpheon or Hydael, but if your cooking setup is not actually in Calpheon or Hydael, if it's somewhere else, you can just have alts ready there and then do it on whatever character you're doing your cooking on. And then when you actually finish it, very simply, you can just go ahead, swap over to your alt, turn it in, and you're good to go. The one that it's really useful for me is actually the weekly to turn in the Massive Pure Magic. And I'll show you guys here in reoccurring. If you go to Verdi's Assistant, this one right here, what I have to do for this is make these Essence of Tuntas. I actually made a bunch of them at once, but instead of having to like go all the way to Odraxia, pick this up, go to wherever my alchemy setup is, which is in Velia right now, and then make these and then go all the way back, I just go and transport an alt over to Adraxia, take the quest, and then, you know, I can go and make this on whatever characters and simply turn it in, and it literally takes me 30 seconds, a minute at the most. So plenty of different situations you can find for that. There's a lot of dailies that work. This works very, very well for. I was actually doing dailies out in Duvenkroon, and there was a ton of different spots where I had an alt just parked over there, and I just log in there when I want to do them, pick them up, and then my main character is ready to go. So that is the last of the 8 things that I personally have on the list. However, that is not like a comprehensive list. Like there's probably 10, 20 other things that I just don't know off the top of my head here. Alts are super, super valuable, and you absolutely are going to want to take advantage of this sooner rather than later. If you are a newer player, make sure you use at the very least your free character slots. The one thing I will say is if you are looking to actually get more character slots outside of like loyalty or whatnot, they do have 50% sales on character slots. I've seen it twice already, I believe. So if you want to save a little bit, I would keep an eye out for that. There might even be one running right now, but normally they're like 600 pearls, and I think they're only 300 with that sale. So you can just go ahead and get a ton of them then if you want to. But this is going to be massive for your account. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This video was detailed, but I was very excited to make it just because I know how insane alts are in this game. So I hope you guys were able to get some good use out of this video. And if you guys enjoyed and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to toss a quick like as well. It really does help out, guys. Thank you so much. You know how the YouTube algorithm works. That stuff means more than you can imagine. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to let me know. Feel free to check out the Twitch stream as well, twitch.tv/salt. And that's going to be about it. So thanks again, everyone. Take care. And until next time.